Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Golf Love UK, and this is my good friend, partner in crime, Pro Golf Critic. How are you, mate?
Doing great. I got to tell you guys, this is the most excited I've been
Oh
about
my
my golf
God,
game in a
you're going to
long
start about
time. Oh
your
my
own
God.
golf game, right? Hang on,
No, I'm
just
not.
right.
I don't.
Let me put the clock on it. You've got 3 minutes to tell the audience about your golf game because I'm getting relentless texts about how well you're playing, and quite frankly, I've gone the other way. So your 3 minutes, caller, starts now.
I don't need that long, but I will say, I think a lot of people know because I've been posting about it. I finally got my Ping G440 LST driver. I got it like maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and like right out of the wrapper, I had no practice time, but I went straight into playing. I did not miss a fairway with it. My first my first round with that driver, which is, let's just say, that hasn't happened in a very, very, very long time, if maybe ever. I don't know, but that's been great. I played in a tournament recently, like it was the best I've played in a while. Like I'm starting to get my confidence back with the driver, and like once you start building that confidence and you start getting excited, like you're able to let it go. You're able to, like, really wail on it. Like I'm just like, I'm like over the moon. I'm like excited about playing golf again, which is like, I'm always excited to play golf, but like I'm excited to hit the driver like on every hole now. Like usually holes where I'm hitting the iron or laying back. I'm just hitting the driver now because it's so good. And this driver is good enough for Steph Curry too. I think people have probably seen the Bryson
Yeah.
and Steph Curry video. He's contracted by Callaway and he's playing the same driver I am. So that should tell. And he was absolutely nuking that driver. I've never seen him drive it that well. People have told me they've never seen me drive it that well. This is not coincidental. So, and I'm not paid by Ping to say this. This is like, this is a legit thing, and I'm really, really happy about it. So that's what I had to say about it. So continue.
But when we played, your irons fantastic, but you said like you didn't always hit the driver quite as you wanted. And
I had
know
no
that
confidence.
yeah,
None.
my game's gone a little bit the other way. Like at the minute, it's a complete roller coaster, and this isn't a Ben and Jay. How are they playing? But yeah, on tour, on tour in Spain 2 weeks ago,
That's right.
I shot 36 points on the one day and 21 points the other. Like I kind of got no idea what's happening in my driver swing and how good the driver is. Like there's only so much a driver can do. But I'm also, as you know, like we all work hard. I've been flat out, which is why we've not recorded for 2 weeks.
Yeah, you've been really grinding. But sounds like things are going
I
great.
look
Though,
old.
so,
Look at the difference in my face. How old I look. Like I feel I'm absolutely fucked. I'm so tired. I'm so.
No, you've been under a lot of. I mean, look, we talk all the time. Like I can tell when you're under a little bit more stress than usual. You definitely are right now. But sounds like things are going really, really well. So yeah, happy to come on. Happy to find
fingers crossed. Yeah, I've got. It looks like I'm gonna have 3 or 4 trips to America next year for sure. Maybe some longer ones. Maybe a stop at the incorporation office in Delaware as well. So that's potentially on the cards. So yeah, it's just so much going on.
Stay tuned. Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Where would you incorporate in Delaware or Vegas is a really popular place to do it now as well. But where the head office has got to be somewhere near Charlotte, isn't it? I've got to be in that North Carolina golf belt. If I'm coming over sort of 10 days at a time, I've got to be
near Pinehurst, close enough to get to South Carolina.
Do you think it's acceptable to have the company address as Raleigh? Do you think that's acceptable?
No, Raleigh's a great city. Like you get direct flights from London there now too. Like it's
only one a week. It's only one a week, so I'd have to be there for 7 days.
Okay. Well, that works though. I mean, there's so much great golf in that area. Like I went to college, obviously very, very close by. Pinehurst is there. You can incorporate in Pinehurst.
You went to Duke, didn't you?
Oh, Goes
Right,
without
okay.
saying, but yeah.
Right. Everyone's completed their bingo. My golf being up and down. You talking about Duke, right? So there's been loads going on in golf, and I know our listeners care a lot about LIV and care a lot about the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour and all the machinations there. So there's about 7 or 8 things I want to cover off. I want to cover off how Brian Rowlap has kind of got rid of some of the old guard. What will happen next? Who knows? Is he going to just continue to double down? I want to talk about Trevor Immelman that's getting cross with you online and overreacting. And mate,
what else is new?
If I thought you were in the wrong, I'd say, but I think he overreacted. He massively overreacted. There's no doubt about it. And I would imagine if he had a chance again, he wouldn't send that tweet. I want to talk about a couple of things about Rory. I want to talk a little bit about LIV. I want to talk about some of the things I think LIV are doing wrong, but why I understand it might be going wrong, but they've only got maybe 3 to 4 weeks before we're going to go, what's going on? There's all these things I want to talk about, but I want to start with the Ryder Cup. The Ryder Cup has been reviewed to death, done to death, and I just want to. I've got sort of 3 quick takeaways. I know we kind of agree on, and actually, who was it who said it to me the other day? Someone said to me the other day. Oh, it was Paul. Said like loves the fact that when we're on here, we don't always agree. And one of the guys on my golf tour said that he listens to us every week, and he said so many golf podcasts are just 3 or 4 mates all agreeing with each other all the time. And he says, actually refreshing, you guys just don't do that. And he said, you agree like quite a lot. Like 50% of the time you're in full agreement, but like 50% of the time there is like a spectrum of agreement where it can be all the way if we don't agree at all. But
we've got strong opinions.
I want to talk about the result of the Ryder Cup. Now I'm not gonna dangle it in your face that we beat you when you said we wouldn't, because you got it wrong. Yeah, but you got it wrong. But
I did get it wrong.
Hang on. But you got it wrong for the right reason. You said if you use analytics and you use data and you set the course up the right way, you can't lose. You lost because Bradley did not use analytics data or set the course up. Like, there's 2 things he did, and people keep talking about the pairings, and the pairings are wrong. Not sending out Cam Young and not sending out JJ Spawn was ridiculous, right? Putting Morikawa and English together twice and doubling down.
Awful.
Do it once if you want, which was the wrong pairing. It was 132nd out of 130 set through it to 132 pairings. But the biggest mistake he made, and this is something that I think really went under the radar. I actually tweeted about it twice and it never got picked up on. No one really, I think maybe had a couple of 1,000 views. Europe are longer hitters now than America. In that we're going into that, but previous to that we never were.
Oh no,
we were straighter. But actually going into that event, we were longer but more wayward hitters than America. And he set it up with wide fairways and mown down rough. So ignore the pairings. If your data shows, which he obviously didn't look at, or if he didn't understand it, and I can't. By the way, when I found out Keegan Bradley was 3 years younger than me, shit, what a paper round he's had. How is that bloke 3 years younger than me?
Yeah, no, he's still in his 30s, I think. Yeah.
He looks 60. I genuinely thought Keegan Bradley was nearer 50 than he was 40, and he's not yet 40.
Yeah,
he's 39, Jay.
Yeah, I know.
He's 3 years younger than me. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, I assumed he couldn't use a computer. That's why he was not to. And I caveat with this with I really like Keegan Bradley. I've said this to you before. I like Keegan Bradley. I think he should have played all these different things. I can't watch his golf swing. It makes me feel sick. But as a person, I really like Keegan Bradley, and I didn't want him in America to lose like that, and it'd be put on him.
Yeah.
But if the data shows you've got the shorter, more accurate driving team, why have you set up with wider fairways and cut down rough? And that's the only, and if you look at the data and the data points on where the drives are going, America was straighter. We can all remember a couple of going left and right, but by and large, America was straighter. So the data was there for him, and he didn't use it.
No. And it's something that's like, it was really shocking to me that that's how it panned out, because like, it's so obvious to like anybody paying attention that like, hey, you go into these home Ryder Cups, your biggest advantage is using the data to your advantage. And this is where like you get into the weeds a little bit. And this is something that I've tweeted about a little bit, and I've talked about a little bit in the Twitter spaces that we did a couple weeks ago. But, you know, you really have to like, I think one of the things, like the biggest red flag that you could possibly have is that I heard Eduardo Molinari go on and sort of talk about the course setup after the fact. And he was like so happy seeing the course setup because he knew that like it gave Team Europe an advantage. And like what that alone tells you, hey, like this is, he wasn't expecting that, except he was happy to see it because he knew that it gave Europe an advantage. So I think that there was a breakdown. This is a situation where it breaks down in one of two places. Really quick. One is either the captain's going totally rogue, like, you know, Hal Sutton, and like not looking at data at all, which is what some of the older school captains have done. Tom Watson's another one. But they're also like, you know, 60, 70, 80 years old. So there's that part. And then there's like the stats guys not being persuasive enough and like really speaking with confidence to the captain and to the team about like instilling confidence in them that like the data that they have is accurate. It's going to give you an advantage. And I feel like there was a disconnect there clearly because it's a huge advantage Europe has over America.
I'm going to offer you something. I actually think there's a third option. I think they didn't check all the data because they thought they already knew it. And I'm going to offer that out with the line that he said, well, the Europeans aren't used to playing on greens like this. 93% of all the rounds the European team played that year were on greens like that. They were in America. They were on PGA greens. Yes. Like, so I'm thinking that they've gone into it and they might have looked at some data, but I'm thinking they've gone into it going, they don't play over here. Well, they do. That the DP World Tour was 10 years ago, 20 years ago when it was any good. We'll talk about that later. And also, we're the longer hitters. We've always been the longer hitters. And I just think the Americans went into it thinking that some of the old things that were still are. Because you remember the Golf National, America turned up with a team of bombers and we mowed the fairway 7 yards wide, another rough 14 inches thick. Because that's where we're going to make our advantage.
Yeah.
And totally. I wonder if it wasn't the people not being persuasive or him not being into data, and there were just some wild old school assumptions made.
So that's the only explanation that I have, because it's like I've been racking my brain to like try to figure out, hey, what actually happened here. And like this is where, you know, having the right not only having the right captain, but just having the right leadership structure on the Ryder Cup team is so critical. And that's something Europe clearly has.
But didn't we? We spoke about the vice captains. Like we said, actually, what was the line? If whoever wants to go back and have a look at it, if vice captains are worth a point, Europe wins by a point. I even forgot we'd said that. We actually said about it. If vice captains are worth a point, we'll win a point. And that was the difference. And you're right. The leadership was just head and shoulders in the European team.
And I will say Europe has a huge advantage. Eduardo Molinari, again, he's a vice captain, but he's also a data guy that commands the respect of everybody on that team. The U.S. team does not have anybody like that. Like, I wish that I could, like, you know, we could have a brain transplant where you could put my brain in, like, Kevin Kisner's head for the Ryder Cup, because he could have been persuasive enough to tell them, hey, like, these are the things that you need to do. These are the people that we need to listen to. This is going to give us an inherent advantage, because I still think that the home crowd is not that big of an advantage. I really don't.
People forget Eduardo Molinari is the guy that rolled 80,000 putts with a stimp meter to see whether you should have the flag in or out. I don't. Have you ever heard that story or not?
No, but I know he's very detail oriented, so it doesn't surprise me.
Eduardo Molinari, when the rule changed about being able to have the flag in, all this sort of stuff, he wanted to know, should you have the flag in? When should you have it in? When should you have it out? There was obviously some personal preference.
Yep.
And the story I read was that he rolled 80,000 putts with a stimp meter, but not even a normal stimp meter, like a longer one to get more pace into the ball. So doing it from 12 foot uphill, 12 foot downhill, left to right break, 20 foot away, 5 foot away. And I think the only time that he says you should have the flag in is over 12 foot on a downhill part of a certain gradient. Like the info's out there, someone will find it. But he rolled 80,000 putts to find that out. You talk about a data guy, like Christ, that's a lot of data.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the U.S. team, they don't have anybody like that. So there were a lot of tactical errors that and I mean, honestly, in the end, it didn't come down. Europe only won by 2 points. So it's like, yeah, they had a huge lead going into Sunday. And it's not a coincidence that once you got in the Sunday, the course was playing a little firmer, a little faster, which gave the U.S. team a little bit more of an advantage. And you saw them win on Sunday. You saw them, I think they won by 5 points on Sunday. So, I mean, Europe only won one singles match. So it's you see stuff like that. It's there were clearly no contingency plans for the rain that they had. The course setup wasn't good. I've never seen Bethpage Black play that easy. It was so ridiculously soft. The greens weren't fast. Those are all advantages that the U.S. team had playing that course, and they didn't take advantage of it. They also didn't take advantage of the pairings. They didn't have the right players teeing off the right holes. You combine all of these things, it's at least a 4-point swing.
Take a step back on that one. I tried to explain that to one of my mates on golf tour who couldn't get it. I believe I explained it properly. Explain the odd and even teeing options for who the better putter is to make chances. So for those that don't know, when you play alternate shot, you can basically end up teeing off at different times on different holes. But you can actually work out who should be teeing off, not based on the tee shot, but based more accurately on the likelihood of having a big putt to score a point. So do you want to give yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, the pairings have a lot of different dimensions to it for sure. One of the things, particularly Bethpage Black, specifically, it was such a huge advantage having your longer player teeing off on the odd holes and your shorter player teeing off on the even holes. This was so clear. So a perfect example: John Rahm, Terrell Hatton, great alternate shot team. John Rahm was teeing off of the odd holes because he's longer player than Terrell Hatton. Terrell was playing off of the even holes because they figured out that they had an advantage going in if they did it that way. Conversely, the U.S. team with Scottie Scheffler and Russell Henley, initially the first day they had Russell Henley teeing off of the odd holes, Scottie Scheffler teeing off the even holes, which didn't give them an advantage, nearly the advantage that it should, and they wound up losing. So that's where there's a huge difference in ball striking, and they flipped it the second day, which is that's a red flag in itself, where it's wait, you clearly didn't plan this out, because now day one you do it one way, then day two you flip it.
Exactly.
And you flipped it because of the caddies. The caddy recommended, Scottie Scheffler's caddy recommended it. And it's no, this is so fly by night.
Ted Scott should not be Ted Scott should say it because he's Ted Scott, and Ted Scott should say it. But Ted Scott shouldn't be the one having to say it.
Yeah, exactly. So there were so many tactical errors there with the ball striking specifically. The putting at Bethpage is a little more nuanced because those greens are relatively flat, and the European team putted slightly slower greens a little bit better. So like they really needed to like amp them up and make them faster. And there was a story that I read about one of the vice captains like going on the walkie-talkie to tell the captain like, hey, we need to speed these greens up because it's not giving us the advantage that we need. And like that was just like such another huge red flag in this whole equation. And then maybe the worst and most egregious thing that Keegan Bradley did, and I knew he was going to do this when they got desperate, because this is the same thing Zach Johnson did 2 years ago. When the U.S. team got down, he's like, all right, I need to change everything. So I'm going to put Scotty Scheffler and Bryson, my 2 players, I'm putting them out to play 4-ball. And it's like, you can't do that.
Doing?
Like you're giving,
you're weakening,
because if
you're
that team loses, you're
pair.
screwed. Yes.
Yeah.
You're so screwed. Like, and they wound up losing to Tommy Fleetwood and Justin Rose.
He was desperate for a point. And
that was a Hal Sutton move. That was a Zach Johnson move. Those are 2 of the worst captains that we had. And unfortunately, Keegan Bradley did the same thing. And as much as I like Keegan Bradley, I got to hold his feet to the fire here. He was not a good leader. He was not prepared. He should have never been picked. It was a bad selection. It was basically a reality show that led to him being picked to be the Ryder Cup captain. And it's something that like the U.S. team needs to figure this out going into the future. They need better leadership. They need a structure in place the same way Team Europe has. So it doesn't matter really who the captain is. Like you have your structure in place. So it was just a total.
Luke Donald's going to do a third time. Mark my words. So? I said this to you on the podcast before.
I know.
I said Europe is the DP World Tour is so desperate to avoid the elephant in the live room of Graham McDowell, Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter.
Mm-hmm.
They're so desperate to avoid that they're going to give Luke another go. Now, does he deserve another go? Yes. Is he brilliant? Yes.
But it's unfair.
That's not in the spirit of the Ryder Cup.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the 2 things separately. Does Luke Donald deserve to be captain for a 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time? Probably, because he's brilliant at it. And the team love him. He loves the data. He's really good at it all. He's great on the podium. He's
I don't think he's as good as people think, because he's faced off of captains that like aren't that good. Let's just call that
true. But he's like a thin Andy Reid. Like he understands the playbook. No. He's good on the mic. Yes. Players love him. Like he's not a Bill Belichick, good. Is he? So hang on, let me do that for English listeners. Bill Belichick would put that as Alex Ferguson, and Andy Reid, you'd put that as Jose Mourinho. So like that's translated really well. Yeah. So we've done both sides of the Atlantic there. But yeah, it's for me it's he I reckon will be captain the 3rd time. I want to talk. I don't want to get in. I'm not going to bash Scotty. You know I like Scotty. Scotty did something that really I didn't like.
Yeah, did a couple things I didn't like.
Bryson's caddy got into it with Tommy.
Yep.
And then with Tommy's caddy. And Justin Rose. And these things happen. And Jibo, I've met Jibo. I talked to Jibo on Instagram. He's a lovely bloke. Yeah. He's just soft. He's soft as charm, and he ain't the guy trying to cause a fight. But Bryson was like, "What's going on here? What's going on here?" And people blew it out of proportion once again because it's Bryson, because they love to do it and they're morons, and they didn't actually look at the fact that Bryson went, "What's going on here? Why are you getting cross? Like these things happen. Like are we just going to let it go?" And Ted Scott got into it, and Ted Scott later apologized for inserting himself into it when he didn't need to.
Yeah,
and because he didn't need to be, but Scotty just stood back and let it all unfold. I'm not saying Scotty had to go in there windmilling in. He didn't have to go like throwing dukes. Do you know what I mean? But he should have been with his caddy in some respect.
You got to have your partners back. You got to have your partners back. Like it's so critical. Like if you look at any European pair, if they were put in the same situation, just like here, Justin Rose is going to have Tommy Fleetwood's back 100%. And vice versa. And when this whole thing popped off, Scotty Scheffler is over there yucking up with Kevin Kisner, and it's like Molinari, who was following Francesco.
Kiz should have been there as well. Kiz is yucking it up.
He shouldn't have been a vice captain. Let's just call it what it is. Like horrible choice. Never even played in a Ryder Cup. How is he a vice captain? It's ridiculous. So like you need to like get in there. Francesco Molinari was in there. He was following the group. He was like inserting himself into the situation because he's a good leader. Kevin Kisner is off yucking it up with Scotty Scheffler, and it's like that was such an indictment on Scotty Scheffler
and Kiz. And I love
Kevin
Kiz.
Kisner.
You know I love Kiz.
The U.S. team.
I've given about 250 quid to his foundation in buying clothing off him and Barstool Sports. Like I love Kiz. I've always loved him, but I didn't like. And also,
it's terrible.
Also, Kiz is the guy that makes you think he's always going to be there and be involved and like have his teammates back. But sometimes it's not the size of the fight and the dog, the size of the dog and the fight, and they want to need that fight in that dog.
And it's something they're not gonna. No one's gonna mention this, but that rift between the PGA Tour and LIV is still a thing, and I think this is where, like, if it wasn't Bryson, if it was someone else, if it was someone that played on the PGA Tour, I think that they would have been more apt to have his back. And this is why I've been really, really big. Next time, you need to have a LIV pod. You got to have a LIV pod on the U.S. team.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I just think that certain people aren't wired to think about other people. I just don't think. I know I like Scotty. He's a good, honest Christian boy, good husband, good father, good golfer. I don't think he's a I'm in battle with you type of guy. I just don't think he's wired that way. I don't think it's a LIV thing because you saw how tight Cam. I don't. Yeah. I don't.
No. It's a player. It's not a global thing. It's a player by player thing. I think someone like Kevin Kisner, who's more.
Oh no!
What I like to call the PGA Tour cult. He's more of a cultist.
I think Kevin Kisner might have felt like that. Yeah, I don't think Scotty.
I don't think Scotty felt that way the same. No, it was a little bit different. You're right.
Scotty and Bryson get on really well, and like I tell you what, again, if there's any podcast, a black guy and a white guy that said pair Scotty Scheffler and pair Bryson and Cam Young together.
Cam Young.
Just I don't know. Do you know any podcasts like that? Because I don't. So I'm pretty sure there was these two blokes that said every opportunity you've got, put Bryson and Cam Young together, they will win that. I do kind of remember that being said. Dude.
Yes, they went out day 2. They were the first pairing off like they should have been day 1, and they won 4-2. Like it was so clear that they had great chemistry. Like those two, like we saw it. It's not only they play the same ball, but they have similar games, and I felt like they were going to kind of feed off each other. And Cam Young is not. We sort of talk about having a LIV pod because these guys are like kind of wired similarly and like they get along a little bit better. Like people, we've talked about this a lot. Cam Young was this close to going to LIV 2.5 years ago. So Cam Young is not in this same group of like PGA Tour guys that like are so like, oh, it's PGA Tour or bust, like a Kevin Kisner is. Like some of these other guys, like, JT or probably Harris English is like that. And there's a couple other players that are kind of that ilk. And I think that that's a big difference. And it's part of the reason why I say, like, you don't have to have all 12 guys on the same page. The U.S. team in 2008, when Paul Azinger was the captain, he started this pod system where you had like-minded people in a pod because those guys were going to have each other's back. It was based off of kind of U.S. military stuff with the Navy SEALs and like special ops guys, where like that obviously worked because when they put that into play in 2008, they wiped the floor with Team Europe. Like that was like a huge thing, and it seems like we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit.
Was that the last time you won?
I mean, the last time we won was not that long ago. It was 2021. It was a record margin. It was right before the LIV thing popped off. They had a good captain, Steve Stricker, who like listened to the data people, set the golf course up the way it was supposed to be set up, and they won 19-9. It's not a coincidence that that's how it happened. And he had good pairings. They were well thought out. So anyway, this stuff is
we're nearly done on the Ryder Cup, but I think it's important.
We got to get Phil captain. We got to make Phil captain. We got to figure this out.
I don't think he wants.
I'm going to talk to him about this in detail. It's the way to heal a lot of these wounds in professional golf.
Yeah, but
I'm going to convince him this is the way to go.
Jay, they don't want to heal the fucking wounds. You're living in this dream.
Some people
still
do.
But a lot of people don't.
I think people in the PGA of America do. People in the PGA of America do. People at the PGA Tour don't.
Yeah,
it's different.
And the people of PGA of America are really grateful for their lovely day out of the players. And they ain't going to do anything about it. But anyway, that's another story. Right. I want to come on lastly to the abuse that Rory got. I'm going to be hated for a lot of what I'm going to say now, but there we are.
Let's hear it.
A lot of the abuse Rory got was unacceptable. It shouldn't have been made. And the comments about his sexuality, the comments about his wife, shouldn't have been made. They should not have been made. There's no place for that in golf.
I agree. Generally.
There's no place for that in golf about your relationship with your wife, and whatever else, and your sexuality. Like jokes.
I agree with that, but fans on both sides can be nasty. I want to make that clear. This is not an isolated thing.
I don't care if it's Europe or America. There's no place for that.
I agree with you. I'm just
categorically say that and condemn those comments.
Yes.
I'm also going to say, if when you get a bit of shit, which he did, and you shout, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and you then don't expect to get it back increased, you're being silly. Like, I'm not saying he should stand there and take it, but the abuse he responded to in that way wasn't the stuff about his wife or about other things. It was just some generic abuse he was getting. And I'm not, and I don't condemn the abuse. It shouldn't happen. But someone in that European team should have not put him and Shane together, who were getting riled up and riling each other up. And Shane said that no fan should ever shout like at a sporting event. If Shane wants to tell me he's never called anyone a fat prick when he's been at football, or of course I haven't said what I was texted he was sent, was I?
What's that? No.
Of course, my mate who was at Bethpage followed their group and was texting me what was being said.
Oh,
so I didn't realise that. Oh, cool. I've got to die after the story. So one of my friends was at Bethpage and Roy was receiving some like horrific homophobic abuse, calling his sexuality into like play, which again shouldn't happen. And there were comments about his wife, shouldn't happen. And apparently there's this one bloke that just kept calling Shane a fat prick, like over and over and over again. Like, again,
are they following us on Twitter? Because it might be the same guy that's in my DM saying
the same guy that calls you a fat prick and me a bold prick. Yeah, mate, I'm bold. Yeah, do you know why I'm bold? Because every time I shag your wife, she polishes my head. Calm down, mate.
I'm big boned. I'm not fat.
Yeah.
No one would call me fat.
Because every time you sleep with his girlfriend, she gives you a biscuit. Have you never heard that joke? That's a cricket joke. So
I don't know cricket stuff.
So in a test match years ago, and this one guy says to the other guy, "Why are you so fat?" And he went, "Because every time I shag your wife, she gives me a biscuit."
Oh God!
Brilliant.
Oh my goodness!
The whole abuse thing, but what? So the abuse shouldn't happen. But then I got a little bit aggrieved with some of the responses being holier than thou. Like,
yes,
there is no way not one of those 12 guys in the European team has been to a football match or rugby match and abused the linesman or the referee or the opponent players. They speak to, again, I don't agree with it. I'm not condoning it. I don't think the abuse should happen on any side. So for avoidance of doubt, there should be no abuse. It is unacceptable, completely unacceptable. But let's not act like anyone was shot.
You know what the other problem is? If Rory had a more alpha caddy the way John Rahm has, like he probably wouldn't be getting the level of abuse that he did.
No, she didn't get abused. Like, Tommy Fleetwood didn't get abused.
Exactly.
Because he didn't rile up the crowd, and his caddy's going to eat you for breakfast.
Exactly. Like, this is not a coincidence. Like, these things are not coincidental. And this is a criticism that I've had of Harry Diamond for a while. It's like when you have a star player like that, just like when Rory took the kid's phone earlier this year, like if you had a caddy that was going to insert himself in the situation the way Ted Scott did, the way Finno did, Fleetwood's caddy, the way the Fooch did, Justin Rose's caddy. Like, I mean, these guys they're no nonsense type of guys. Adam Hayes, John Rahm's caddy, same thing. These guys are no nonsense. If you talk smack about their player, they're going to confront you about it. Harry Diamond is not that guy. So as much as Rory like wants him on the bag and all that, like this is like part of the reason why you need to go out there and find the right caddy for your situation. If you're taking abuse, Steve Williams, another one, Steve Williams, Tiger's caddy for the longest time. Steve Williams is one of the biggest alphas out there. He's not taking any anything from anyone. So this is something no one's really talked about that piece. I think all these things are like part of the same equation, and it is what it is. Rory's just kind of the type to like egg people on, and like he makes himself such an easy target with like some of the things that he says and the things he does in the news.
The abuse shouldn't happen. Categorically shouldn't happen.
The abuse shouldn't happen. However, I will say, from what I've heard from Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka's camp, they got a lot of abuse the last few Ryder Cups that they've had away as well. So, and there were nasty things said about their wives too. So like this is the Ryder Cup is a different type of an event. I don't like that stuff. I wish it was sort of legislated out, and I think that we probably could do a little bit better job on both sides of the pond of doing that. However,
we don't want to sanitize it. We don't want to sanitize it completely.
No,
like
no, but
stick. Like if the abuse for Rory had been the one chirp I did love. One chirp I did love was
where you said choking about the show.
Yeah. No. Someone
that was a good one too.
Someone made a joke at Rory, and Rory turned around. He went, "Quick, hide your phone! You'll throw it in a bin." And I was like, "That's brilliant."
That was a good one, and the choking comment with the guy, and actually Rory and Shane Lowry laughed about it too. When he was like, don't worry about buttoning your shirt, Rory, because you can still choke with a loose collar, something like that. They liked that. It was funny. That's like more like good natured ribbing and stuff like that. We don't need like the personal attacks. Like obviously, like I get personal attacks online. You do too. We don't like it. We don't endorse it. We never ever in a million years attack people personally online. We just don't do it.
We attack each other love it if
other. Well, that might be a one-way street, but anyway. That's something like we wish that we could sort of legislate out completely. However, but there are a lot of people made it the story.
There are nuances around it where
a lot of
I felt that it got hammered home, and I just think that sometimes you've got to take half a step back. Yeah, it was unacceptable and nothing personal I condone, but equally we know that. Anyway, look, let's move on. We've done a Ryder Cup. Go on.
One more point about the Ryder Cup. The one thing, and this is a media thing, they made it so much about the abuse and all that. I really do feel like it took away from Europe and this great accomplishment that the European Ryder Cup team had. And I will give Rory full credit. 2 years ago at Marco Simone, he called his shot. He said, 2 years from now, we're going to win at Bethpage, take it to the bank. And they did it. Like, that's the story to me. Like, I will give Rory full credit for that. It was a great performance by him and like all their top players, Tommy Fleetwood, John Rahm, Terrell Hatton, undefeated. Rory as well. Like those are their top four guys. They came to play. The top four guys for the U.S. team, they didn't come to play. And part of that was they weren't put in a position to win. And that comes down to Keegan Bradley and the captainship and the leadership.
And I actually think on the abuse piece, just don't say anything and just go, do you know what? I don't want to talk about abuse. Things were said. Maybe they shouldn't have been. But let's focus on the fact that I told you 2 years ago we'd come here and stuff you and we've done it.
That's how we should have said it.
Just be the alpha, Rory, that you so are on the course and just lean into that because Christ, he played so well. He was brilliant. Yeah. He was absolutely phenomenal. Him, Tommy, Justin Rose, like they did get the John Rahm tour hat and they were just superb.
Yeah, they ran out of gas a little bit on Sunday, but they had such a big lead they could afford to.
They did run out of gas, but also a thing that's being missed. People talk about the putts that Justin Rose and Tommy made in the afternoon, on day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that in the last 3 holes for the first 4 matches, America made, so that's 3 holes, 4 matches, so that's 12 holes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Between the 4 people, they made 7 putts over 15 foot. And you look at those matches, they were all win by 1 or the half. Yeah, like
for the most part, they were close.
There were 7 putts. There were 7 putts over the 12 or 15 foot. But like that's a huge thing. So people talk about Europe running out of gas. If just 2 or 3 of those don't go in, the score could be completely different. So yeah, Europe did run out of gas. But if you half 3 of the first 4 matches that came in, then it is a different score.
That's true.
We've done the Ryder Cup to death, right?
Yeah, we have.
We said we're going to do 20 minutes on it. We've done 40.
I had a feeling just because there was a lot to unpack from it, and there were a lot of things that happened.
I want to do LIV justice on what's going wrong, and I don't feel I can do it today because I want to do it properly and I want to dive into it.
Yeah, we're gonna need to do a full LIV off-season debrief. There's a lot going on.
I think we need to. I think next week we'll record one about Scott, Salesforce, the conference, LIV, what's going on. Yeah. Because I also want to see if the information I've got that's right is there's going to be an OWGR decision around about the 23rd to 25th. So everything I want to say could be complete and utter bollocks by the time it comes out. So
yeah, we got to wait on the OWGR stuff. I've heard a lot of conflicting information at this point, and I'm not gonna we think we know the way it's gonna go, but at the same time, like the whole Trevor Immelman thing, and sort of he's under a lot of pressure right now.
Let's go to Trevor then. So you put a tweet out the other day, and pull the tweet up.
Yeah.
Because Trevor's reaction was so over the top.
Yeah.
So old Jay gets up and reads out. Basically, anyone that follows Trevor, some of Trevor's correspondence of late and some of the things he said and the way he responded to Jay, I feel Trevor's under a lot of pressure. And I think Trevor's under a lot of pressure where actually, I think he knows he needs to make a change in OWGR and he understands why he needs to make a change. But I think he's almost too scared or worried about making it and upsetting the PGA Tour and maybe upsetting his paymasters at NBC or ABC, wherever he's paid. Do you want to read out the tweet?
I think he deleted the tweet. I'm almost positive.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm looking for it and I can't find it.
Hang on,
see if I can find it again.
It's not in his replies. No, he's deleted it.
No, he's deleted it. Yeah.
He's deleted it. So so he knew he overreacted to you. He just completely, utterly knew he overreacted to you.
Yeah, but basically, what happened with the whole thing was he tweeted something out about because South Africa, they won the team amateur.
Oh no! It is here. It is here. I found it. So Trevor Immelman replied to a International Golf Federation about the World Amateur Team Championships. He wrote, "This is so awesome. Well done, boys," with a RSA flag. So you South African.
Oh yeah.
And all you wrote was Team Golf and a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
And
because we love Team Golf.
And
he does too. Back, he just needs to admit it.
And he wrote, "Dude, you're incessant. Dude, you're incessant, relax, full stop." And I'm just like, Trevor, all Jay's done is say that Team Golf's good, which you just said yourself.
Yes. Like, what is going on with the golf establishment? Like, I mean, I understand they've dug such a deep hole for themselves on this LIV stuff. Like, it's a hard hole for them to dig out of. Like, I totally understand it. However, there's a reason why, people are so excited about the Ryder Cup. There's a reason why he's so excited about the team championship in South Africa winning. Like, Team Golf is it's something we don't get enough of. And now we have this league that comes about that team golf is the main thing. There's going to be more team on team things as time goes on. There's no question about that in my mind. So it's like, why wouldn't you guys, as the golf establishment, embrace this? Because it's this new form of golf with like an entity that's out there willing to inject billions of dollars into the game of golf, and you're resisting it for some BS, just like no good reason at all. This like fake morality stuff that is like not even a thing, and everybody knows it. It's just BS talking points that they've been talking about for a while, and like they started to believe it, and now they're having to unpack it. And it's like, no. We need to come to an agreement that team golf is a good thing. He just tweeted that it was a good thing seeing his South Africa team win. Guess what? LIV has a South Africa team that like is going to be hosting a LIV event in South Africa next March. He should be excited about that. Everybody in South Africa should be excited about that event, because it's so rare. South Africa, they're a nation with such a rich golf tradition. Like Gary Player and
in
like
sports.
Yes, in sports in general, a team sports.
Yeah.
So this is like
Retief Goosen, Louis Oosthuizen, Brandon Grace, Charles Schwartzel. You're talking about some players that won majors there. You're talking about, you said Gary Player. You've got some really, really good. But yeah, it was just such a bizarre.
Ernie Els.
Oh, yeah, Big Easy. I forgot to completely Ernie Els. Like, you got some really, really incredible golf there, and I don't quite know why you reacted to you like that, because actually all you're saying is everything we already know, which is team golf is good, and he's just replied to, dude, you're incessant relax. All you've done is you've literally agreed with him.
Bobby Locke is another. Bobby Locke was someone I was like, who's the other? Yeah, Bobby Locke was he won 4 majors way back in the 50s and 60s, before our time, obviously, but still great player, great history, legacy of great South African golfers. That Trevor Immelman's one of those guys. He's a former Masters champion. Like I will give him full credit for that. But I'm telling you, these guys, their minds are so twisted.
His own brother played on tour for 20 years, didn't he? Mark Immelman?
Yeah, Mark Immelman. Yeah, no, they're all doing announcing. But this is where all these guys that are involved in TV and CBS, they've been believing this nonsense. There's been such a divide in golf that mostly the PGA Tour side is created, because it didn't have to be this way. It really didn't. They're the ones that have been driving the divide. They're the ones that have been threatened. They're the ones that like they've been getting in rooms and scheming about how to downplay the LIV players, how to exclude them from all these other tournaments, and like how to like make all these players outcasts. A lot of that's led by people like Jay Monahan and people that used to be on the board that aren't there anymore. So this is a challenge that I need to bring up to Brian Rolapp, who we haven't really got to, but Brian Rolapp, the new CEO of the PGA Tour, he's come in and he's one of the people that needs to tell all these people that have been negative about LIV, it's time for all you guys to stand down. Like, LIV is going to be here. We need to figure out a way to work this thing out, even if there isn't like a formal deal. We're all part of the same sport. I know Scott O'Neill and Brian Rolapp are talking a little bit behind the scenes about ways that they could collaborate. This is a fact. So they need to figure out.
I've been very public. I've been very public about what I think Scott wants to do. I think Scott would like to have a Super Bowl style golf event where it's 12 LIV players versus 12 PGA Tour players, however it's sorted out. Or as I said, it could be 8 LIV players, 8 PGA Tour players, 2 TGL teams and 2 LIV teams that come together. Whatever it might be.
Whatever they want to do is fine.
Yeah.
The macro level thing is that like there's gonna be some collaboration and everybody needs to fall in line. So everybody at CBS and the PGA Tour and all that, and that's why Brian Rolapp coming in and replacing some of these legacy leaders that were some of the people that were like the main ones causing the division. Make no mistakes about it. Jay Monahan, that was a huge domino to fall. SSG coming in and injecting all that capital into the PGA Tour, huge domino to fall. Brian Rolapp coming in, another huge domino. The next domino is figuring out who at the PGA Tour is like really there to make pro golf better, or people that have an agenda. And those are the people that need to be rooted out. I've been saying this for like 2.5 years. The people that have an agenda, those are the ones that need to be rooted out. You need to bring in new people that don't have an agenda. All their agenda is making golf better and making it more profitable and all those other really important things that we talked about for a long time. So I'm happy this process is finally here. Brian Rolap, SSG, and all those guys behind the scenes, like I have way more faith in them than I had Jay Monahan. So I think that we're getting there. And I think there's been a couple of big dominoes that have fallen that have gone totally under the radar with like people like Allison Keller, who's worked at the PGA Tour for like 25 years.
Yeah, do you want to spend a couple of minutes on that before we close up? Because I think that I touched on the Brian Rolap stuff, and so I'll give you my opinion on the Brian Rolap situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had an opportunity 6 weeks ago to say something more positive, and actually he didn't. He really doubled down on who we are, we'll do what we want, it's about us, it's not about a deal, there's no deal nearby, all this sort of stuff. Now,
it was early. It
wasn't that early. It was 6 to 8 weeks after he took over and did his first press conference. It was his second one, and he could have just said, I'm new, I'm in the role, I've got so many things to look at, give me 6 to 8 weeks, let me come back to you after the Ryder Cup, and I'll come back to you with some statements on what we're doing, what we're thinking.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
now, hey, mate, I'm not saying I'm 42. You don't have to be a genius to say that stuff. That stuff is leadership, CEO talk. I run a company. Like, that's how you talk. You don't commit to F them, F this. We're doing what we do. He
didn't say it like that. You got to give him a little more credit. That's not what he said. That's not what he said.
You say that, but it was the week after the LIV Team Championships. It was very dismissive of any form of collaboration. He was very dismissive of any form of conversations going on. He was very dismissive of the intent to ever have or ever have any conversations. So that then puts him in one of two positions. Either he looks like a liar or he looks like he's weak and changed his mind. Now, I don't believe he's weak and changed his mind. In the words of the great Colin Cowherd, new information, new opinion. That's fine. I've got no issue with that. But I just think, take the CEO line, use the CEO speak and say, hey, it's not like you've been in the role 10 months and answers are expected. This was he could just go, hey, I'm not ready to do my State of the Union address. I need another 6 to 12 weeks. We've got to Ryder Cup here that a lot of our players got to focus on. I want to give you the right answer when I've had a chance to really understand what's going on. That's what he should have said.
He said a lot of that. He said a lot of what you're saying for sure, except the job of the CEO, and this is what Greg Norman and Scott O'Neill have done too. Your number one job is also to promote the place where you're the leader of right now. Like, so nothing he said was like that, like mind blowing to me in like a negative way. Like, I think that he was just trying to say, hey, we're the PGA Tour. I took this position. My goal is to focus on the PGA Tour and make that stronger, because it was too soon for him to talk about collaboration.
But I've got no issue with that. But when it comes to collaboration conversation, just say, I'm not ready to speak about that. I'm focused on this at the moment. We'll get to all of that.
I think he said a lot of that. Like I said, so I think that what he said at the time was fair. And I think that that's going to evolve over time once they sort of figure out a way to sort of collaborate a little bit better. And I think, again, a huge thing in this is rooting out some of these people in his ear saying, oh, you need to be negative about LIV. You need to be negative about LIV. Like, you need to get those guys out of there. Like I've been saying for like 3 years. So, and I think we're getting closer to that, sort of leading into it. Allison Keller and Rick Anderson. Rick Anderson was the PGA Tour's chief commercial officer. Like, he worked at the PGA Tour for like 30 years. Allison Keller is sort of the chief administration officer. She's been there for over 25 years. I mean, we're talking about like almost 60 years of tenure at the PGA Tour that are now out. And then you sort of add to that all the tenure that Jay Monahan had, as the commissioner for like 8 years, but he was with the PGA Tour for longer than that. And there's just like a lot of turnover. This is only the tip of the iceberg. Like, this is how like any company, any business works. And unfortunately, LIV is kind of going through a similar thing where you bring in a new CEO, they're going to evaluate the senior leadership team. Some people are going to stay and are fully bought into the vision. Some people aren't for whatever reason. And that's just how it goes. This is what I've been talking about for like 6 months. Like, it's coming to fruition even sooner than I thought.
Do you know the biggest challenge for Brian Rowlap and Scott is weeding out the weak that say the right thing and say they're there and they believe in the vision, but they're just there. They're just there in the background. There's a lot of that they'll both have to face that as issues. Is making sure they find the right. And by the way, I'm not saying there are those people. I'm not saying I know those. I'm for anyone starts like calling me out. What I mean is that sometimes when you take over an organization, it's those yes men or women that have said things that like. And I actually think probably LIV might not have any. I'm not aware of any. What I mean is that the PGA Tour is
more about the PGA Tour, but
yeah, the PGA Tour is much more established and been going so long that there are going to be people in that those just above middle management positions that manage just to be there the entire time. Like that's always a difficult thing.
Particularly in the American golf establishment, it is full of these people, and I don't want to go on a whole riff about the American golf establishment. Everybody who listens to this podcast knows how I feel at this point. Except there are these people, and I will go back to what Phil Mickelson said 2 years ago, and I know for a fact this is what Yasser and the Pit feel. Actions speak louder than words. It's part of the reason why they're not fighting these verbal, they're not having these like sparring matches in the media and all that stuff. They're like, we're going to let our actions speak for what's going to happen in the future. Scott O'Neill has already said, like, since he has been on the job at LIV 10 months, they have raised $500 million in sponsorships and partnerships just since he joined. He just talked about this at the Salesforce thing earlier this week here in San Francisco.
We know of 2 or 3 more deals that are on the pipe.
100%. And that's only going to continue to grow. Like, these are like really, really big partners. Salesforce is like such a huge company. Like, I mean, people don't really understand it. Like, I use Salesforce in my daily life, in my corporate job.
I really don't. They are massive, but I think their system's I think their system is truly awful. I think so.
It's more of an American thing, probably. But
no, it's over here. As CRMs go, like, build your own, create better. That's not to say that I don't think Salesforce are a massive company. I've just never particularly liked their product. In the same way I do like HSBC.
Yeah, and I've said some things about HSBC in the past that are true, but I'm willing to let some of that stuff.
But neither of us have ever bought a digger, have we?
Oh, yeah! Shout out JCB.
Yeah. So we're allowed to have differing relationships and feelings about the LIV sponsors.
Yeah. Shout out Rolex. Shout out Qualcomm.
BMW.
Look,
mate,
I mean, look. There's a lot.
The fact that idiot like didn't get you a joking, and that people think, oh mate, it just.
But am I joking though? That's the funny part. People think that. That's why I like playing these mind games. I like playing these mind games with some of my haters. They don't get it.
Yeah, the joke is that you and I both know, and does everyone who gets you, you never put up on your profile that you were sponsored by Rolex and BMW because you were trying to actually pretend you were. You were doing it to take the mick out of people that do it when they're sponsored by no one or whatever. Like, yeah, it just...
And also,
and they fall for it, It's just
like I mentioned, here's this trajectory people don't get. A lot of these companies, even though I support them and I know people there, these are some of the biggest sponsors in golf. Like, Rolex is already. Yeah, this has been very.
That's the joke within a joke. Is it's the actual existing golf. However,
Rolex has a partnership with Legion 13. Rolex has a partnership with Legion 13, and no one publicly really understands and knows the stuff.
If anyone in Rolex is listening, I like the rose gold presidential. Do you know what? I'm not a fan. We can end this in 30 seconds. I'm not a fan of like any of the bezels from any of the watch manufacturers that are colored. I don't like the colored bezel around the outside, like they call it the Hulk or the Pepsi or the Batman. No, just give me a one-tone watch. Like, just let's not mess around. Anyway, BMWs. I'm all about the 4x4s.
Shout out BMW. I've been a BMW supporter for most of my adult life. I'm driving one now. Love that car. It's my favorite car I've ever had.
Well, if we are going to talk about actual sponsor, shotscope.com, golf lover at checkout, shotscope.com, golf lover at checkout. And big shout out to one of the boys on the golf tour, bought a rangefinder using our discount, got 15% off.
Love it.
So let's go and record our live one in a week or two's time once we know where the OWGR stuff is and we've had our meeting. Let's also I'd like just do a recap. I know it sounds really daft, not of live as such, but a little bit about the golf season.
Yeah.
Some
European
personal
tour
bits.
Too.
Some personal bits. Like I've played 4 or 5 new courses this year I've not played before. Just do sort of a couple of minutes on some of those. I know that you're getting back into your golf properly and loving it. And I'd also like to encourage questions. So we've actually got a question which I'm not going to answer today. I'm actually going to reply to him. So a guy called what's he called? Can Golf 92 on Twitter.
My guy. Love Can Golf. Shout out Can Golf.
He sent me 2 questions. One is, what is the point of the side deal the PIT made between themselves, TPG Infrastructure and Rory? I'll cover that next week because that was the one I was all over and was on about it all the time on Twitter. And when I put that out, virtually no one knew that PIF had invested in TPG Infrastructure and TPG Sports. So TPG is a group. They've got different infrastructure funds and different funds in their group. And Rory actually is one of the primary investors in one of their funds. Yep. And PIF have just put a load of money into the adjacent fund. Anyway, we'll talk about that. And the other question is...
a lot of financial stuff going on. Goodness.
Yeah, but I love it. I'm so sad.
No, it's great. No, I love it. Look, the Salesforce stuff and seeing Bryson.
Stop promoting that. It's rubbish. Its connectivity to email is bad, right? And
no, but there's some AI stuff I haven't told you about yet. There's some AI stuff that's really cool. When
I was using Salesforce, there was no AI, so it just didn't connect. The second was about Liv's owners. Are they allowing Liv to be stagnant? And we can talk about that in a couple of weeks' time. So Can Golf, I will answer those questions.
No,
I've done a little bit there on it, but we will answer them
next
properly.
Next week is going to be Liv heavy.
Any questions, drop them in my DMs. That's Golf Love UK, or drop it in Jay's DMs, and he's Pro Golf Critic, or reply if you want your question to be read out and name checked and asked. Put it in YouTube, and we'll do that for you. So we'll make sure we get that asked out.
What they really need to do is go to glugc.com/support and support us, become a patron. Because if you are a patron, our patrons, we answer every single one of their questions.
Everyone.
No stone gets left
both the patrons we answer their questions. Right.
There's more than that, but it's But no. One more thing, I do want to shout out Bryson. There's a reason why I'm wearing the Crushers gear today. I mean, Bryson is such an asset to Live. I want to shout out him and Steph Curry for shooting their Breaking 50 series, Bryson's Breaking 50 series on his YouTube channel. I'll put that link below if you haven't watched it yet. Steph Curry is like such a great ambassador for just golf in general. He does so many great things in golf here in the United States. He lives relatively close to me. I've played that course where they've filmed the Breaking 50, and it was just electric from start to finish. Shout out to them for actually breaking 50. It was just a really, really fun video, really educational. just really entertaining. And like, I want to see more of that from Bryson. Like he does so much great stuff. Like the Caddy series he's doing with like Kevin Hart and all these other guys is just like so engaging. Shout out Bryson, shout out the Crushers, shout out Steph Curry, all you guys, shout out Ping, because Ping's part of the reason why they broke 50, because I mean Steph Curry was absolutely lacing that
you ain't doing that. You ain't doing that with Callaway.
He wasn't doing it with Callaway, so it's not a coincidence. So no, that Ping driver, I am one of the biggest advocates because it's changed my driving. Like I'm so confident with it now. Like when people were surprised Steph Curry was driving it as well as he was, after I saw a driver he had, I was like, oh, I'm not surprised at all. So go get fit for one of those drivers because it will change your driving 100%.
And when you send in questions, they can be on anything. Be it, I only found out today there's a soft cap and a hard cap on their world handicap system and on the GIN about how your handicaps can change and how it works. Yeah. So if you've got questions about anything in golf, opinions on should you be able to pick a ball out of a divot, anything you want, fire some questions at Jay and I. Here's the off season. Any golf thinking you want to do, and what we'll do, we'll get your questions asked, and if you want, I can always get you to send me a voice note and play your question on the podcast, and then we can clip it up, put it on social media if you want to do that. If you don't, we'll just read it out. So we want you guys to be a part of the show. Someone said to me the other day, oh, your podcast only gets a couple of thousand listens. You have no idea how hard it is to get those couple of thousand listeners. Like, and keep
and they're active.
But
if you look at our
data, one of the things our data that is absolutely incredible is how loyal our listeners are.
Yes,
most of our listeners, like you can see how many people have downloaded and listened this week, the download and listened the week before, and it's always in the 90%. It's always in the 90%. It's never dipped below 90. Like,
and they're passionate. They are so passionate about golf.
About 5 podcasts ago, it was 98% of people that listened this week listened the week before. The only time it hasn't happened, do you know the only time it hasn't happened? The Melbourne podcast. Still, I reckon one of our best podcasts absolutely bombed. Our metrics, the Melbourne podcast. It bothers me because it was one of the best. I know it's niche. I know golf is niche. I know golf equipment is niche. I know golf clothing is niche. I know Malbon's the niche of that niche. But it was still brilliant. But hey, no one listened to it.
It wasn't really live. People listen to us for obviously live stuff and all that. But stay tuned for some Malbon live stuff too. Like I probably already said too much, but there's some stuff in the pipeline that people need to be very, very aware of. So just keep that in mind. And like, if you
like Malbon and hate live, you're going to hate the news.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out Malbon. That's a Malbon sweater that you have on, right?
No, it's not actually. It's a live golf. No, this isn't Melbourne. It's the LIV Golf, and where is it? It's the LIV Golf and JCB collab.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought it was.
Yeah, so you could only get this at the event.
Yeah,
and like,
no, it's good.
Yeah, I love it.
No,
I've got to take it off. It's like 300 degrees in this hoodie. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Take care. I'm sorry we've been away for a week and a half. If you want us to do more podcasts, try and get us to 250,000 subscribers so that I can quit work. And then I can do more of this.
Leave a like, leave a comment. You guys are so engaged. We really appreciate you. That helps us. It helps the algorithm, all that stuff. Smash that like per usual. Leave us a review if you listen to this on Spotify and Apple. We got a lot of haters out there early on for obvious reasons. We need to really start weeding those guys out. Leave that 5-star review, and thank you guys for being so loyal and so engaged too. We really.
I'm just looking. I just got to look at our rating because at one point our rating was 2.5 stars. What's our rating now?
And they were all like personal attacks about me, pretty much.
But yeah,
so it wasn't about the podcast. It was like somebody that I body bagged on social media.
It was all hate. It was all hate for you. I can't even see what it is now.
You don't need to go. We can end it now. I don't need to hear any more hate. I get enough of it. Thank you guys for listening per usual.
Yeah, with 3.3 stars. Yeah, some of these rankings are brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It might be from another...
your American co-presenter's just a know-all.
True. Yeah. I never denied that. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
Look,
it.
you're either gonna love that or you're gonna hate it, but in the end, you're gonna listen to what I have to say, and that's kind of the whole point. So, and
what's so funny is that we've got 9 ratings, and we've got 5 5-star and 4 1-star. So it's people who just hate you online and gone
Apple,
1-star. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Yeah, I have a 1-star rating, and like everyone who actually listens and likes us is 5-star. People who dislike us because of Twitter. Well, anyway, I've said it 3 times. I got to go to bed.
All right,
I love you all. It's 12 minutes to 11, and I got to get up. Take care. Bye bye.